Process time. I know it's been a little while, and what the hell, we're going to go ahead and do some process stuff again. I think it occurred to me that I haven't even told you guys what this stuff here is. This is for Kyle Simmons. I don't know the name of the actual project yet. And if you guys don't remember who Kyle Simmons is, last year we worked on a project called Worlds in Peril, which was like a superhero Dungeons and Dragons book. So this project here is I'm not sure if it's part of it or it's different, but it's basically like a card game where you play these attacks, parries, and blocks. So this one here is clearly an attack. So anyway, we've got our very rough thumbnail, which was actually smaller than this, and I just blew it up to the size of the actual card that we'll be using. Then like usual, we turn this sucker to blue. Where can I find that? There we go. And drop the opacity down. And then I just start working out breakdown. And breakdowns are basically just like structure added to a scribbled thumbnail. That's what I like to look at it. Like if you look at this right here, like what is that? And then we just add some anatomy. And the last stage here is I like to do this with a color, red in this case, and just add the costume elements and the folds and the wrinkles and all that jazz. Before I go a little further, I just want to let you guys know that if you follow me on Patreon, these Snapchats here, they come with a little bit of extra content. And what that extra content is recorded video put into these Snapchats, showing the process of the line art here and the inks that we'll see next. But these videos will be uploaded on YouTube about a month after Patreon, so you don't have to worry too much. So here it's just a deadline for our line art. And lastly here we got the inks. I do add this fancy background with a little starburst for impact. And thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, welcome to the extra content here. This is going to go like lightning because normally I record just the stage, like the inks we'll say, but I wanted to just do everything, right to the colors as well. But since it is going a little faster, you might want to watch it just at a reduced speed if you're interested in the exact like artsy-fartsy stuff that's going on with it. But thank you so much for being on Patreon, and I hope you guys are getting a kick out of these. Like I said, I want to do these, once in a while. They don't take too much effort or time, but it's a little way of just saying thanks and all that stuff. So right here we're working in the Freddy method, as I like to call it, which is to say it's basically like a micron marker. You guys know all about this right now. And right here, something I've wanted to do for a long time is now I actually just put a shoe in my office, like a literal shoe, so that I can grab that and just use that as reference while I'm drawing feet, or especially shoes, just because I struggle with them. I find I have my like default foot, just like my default hands, and the one you saw there, it just wasn't working. So here I went to the default stuff and used my reference again, and the reason why I wasn't looking right is because I had my reference at a weird angle and his ankle was busted, and that's why it wasn't working. So I eventually erased it. It took about, I don't know, like, I know this is going real fast, but maybe about 5 or 10 minutes to come up with a foot that looked good. So even though this is going quick, don't don't let it disguise you and think that this stuff is just simple and that even, I guess, and this isn't to say like a nose in the air sort of thing, but even people such as myself that do this every day, all day, sort of things as much as we can, we still run into things that snag us and catch us by the feet every now and then, literally. And we're just going through here on a separate layer. I've got the second guy here just getting kneed right into the stomach. And the reason why I put these characters on separate layers is because, sometimes you want to draw through a character and all that. And right now I'm just erasing it. Looks like I'm about to wrap up the line art. So I'm going to zoom in here and just connect the dots, basically, looking for the dots that are in between where my lines are open. And you'll see me just zip across the page doing that. And that's because I'm going to run an action that just puts the contour layer around everything. And you can see this is actually a 600 DPI image. So the dead line that I'm using is, I think, it's a little different, but it's you can get away with it in Photoshop or anything. But since it's 600 DPI, I believe the size that I'm drawing at, that dead pixel brush, is about 3. No, it's about 4 or 5. I apologize, I don't really... actually, let me just... I have something open right here. It is 4. It's actually 4. And you might need to go a little heavier, a little higher, depending on your resolution and stuff like that. Again, the Freddy method I continually talk about, he talks about using a 3-pixel brush. That's because he works at 300 dpi. Since in Manga Studio the file sizes are so much smaller, I like to work a little higher. I find that it gives the quality just a little bit extra, but you never know down the road whenever you might need to print something, or it's always nice to have something at a higher resolution. And here we're just doing the inks. What I did there is I just grabbed the pencil. You can grab whatever, but I like the pencil because I can kind of like tilt my stylus a little bit and just sort of like shade in a little bit more with a pencil, as opposed to what you guys have probably been seeing me do for at least the last video for sure, which is just grabbing like another marker and just putting in like a spot and kind of build up the shadows and kind of go back into carving in the shadows and all that stuff. And this I like to call sort of like sloppy inks, or I know sloppy is not the correct term. It's supposed to be grungy. So there's a lot of like really thick lines and just spots everywhere. There's not much rendering too much. It's just heavy blacks and shadows. And I'm just going through here with this. This brush here is a little bit of a custom brush. I'm not sure if I talked about it on a YouTube video or not, but it's got some. I highly recommend going into the settings one day and just clicking around on your brushes and just experiment for one day just to see what you can get. And it was great because this one does give me a lot of grunge, a lot of dirt to it, which does sort of mask that clean line that we were starting off with. And it's been really excellent to do that. And now we got the inks all done. Right now I'm just bringing in a starburst effect here that I had on a separate image, and in Manga Studio you can actually edit all the points just by clicking on the object selector. You can see that I have up there, and you can sort of adjust it. And what I'm going to do is just pull in a color used for this card that I talked about earlier in this video, and then just mask all it out so that it pops, and then change the starburst to white. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate your time and obviously your support in helping me get closer to my dreams as well here on Patreon. It's been a treat and a blast, and I really do hope you guys get something out of this and you enjoy it at least. And until the next video, keep reading comics and keep making comics. Bye bye.